Hi, Kate. Welcome to the Integrative Health Coaching Success podcast.
Thank you so much for having me, Julia.
Yeah, we're thrilled to have you. I can't wait for you to share with the listeners how you kind of came to be in the space that you're currently working in the health and wellness field, where you started. And I think you have really valuable information for kind of how you got from A to B. So I can't wait for you to share with the listeners. Before we dive into kind of all of those specifics, could you share with our listeners how you got started in kind of this coaching field and what you were originally doing when you came into the space?
Absolutely. So I graduated from college with a degree in kinesiology and started personal training right out of college. I personal trained for about 5 years, and then I had a pretty good bout of chronic pain, which totally changed, but was kind of a major pivot in my career. I was very interested in fitness originally and thought that, exercise was a lot of what it meant to be healthy. And then once I struggled with quite a bout of chronic pain, it was really eye-opening for me. And I realized at that point that exercise and that part of, fitness was a very, very small portion of what it means to be truly healthy. So at that point, I just, everything changed for me. Everything shifted. I really lost interest in bicep curls and six packs and became so much more interested in the person as a whole and in my own health. So I struggled with actually 2 bouts of pretty intense chronic pain. So at that point, I was bedridden for about a year and really got the opportunity to struggle and to, the quality of my life was really, it was tough. It was really tough. So for about a year, I had to quit work. I was bedridden. I was just in severe pain. I had a neck injury. Finally got diagnosed with something called occipital neuralgia, which is just the muscles in the neck spasm, irritates the occipital nerve, and the cycle goes on and on. So I had injections and saw every PT and chiropractor, and it was a year of pretty debilitating chronic pain that I wasn't able to manage. So I think, again, anytime you go through something like that and really get a chance to suffer on that level, it changes you. And it really changed me for good. I remember after I got better, I went back to the gym, personal training, and I just was so uninterested in fitness. It was like, you guys, there's so much more out there. We're really missing the big picture. And I really wanted to work with people that were in chronic pain. And so I became certified in a technique called foundation training, which is kind of a cutting edge technique, basically for realigning the body, addressing, poor movement patterns, posture issues. Really had a lot to do with prevention. So some more similar to physical therapy, where you're dealing with, joints and preventing pain or helping people get out of pain. So I did that for several years. I totally lost interest in personal training and became somebody that people would see for pain. They'd come to me and say, well, you got yourself out of pain. How did you do it? What's this new therapy that you're using? So people kind of came from far and wide. This therapy was nothing I came up with. It's Dr. Eric Goodman was who came up with it, but just a brilliant technique, very, very effective. And so it was really exciting to help people that, like me, had suffered for a long time and didn't have answers, and really wanted to address the cause of their pain and not just manage it with surgery or injections or pain pills or whatever it is for them. So that was really what I was doing for, I personal trained for about 10 years total, and then overlapping did the corrective exercise. And then just about the time COVID hit, I was realizing that, I wanted to reach people on a larger scale. And I started, posting some stuff on Instagram and doing a little bit there, but it was when COVID hit that finally it was like, okay, this is my opportunity. This is the push that I need to scale myself and to get online so I can reach more people. So at that point, I started to, post on Instagram, and it was really my husband kind of in the back of my background saying, you just need to create some programs. You've got a lot to offer, and you're either going to trade time for money, or you can step back and kind of hit the pause on that and create programs that can reach more people. So that's what I did when COVID hit, and that's currently what I'm still doing.
That's great. So what is your current practice? What are you doing currently with these programs? I would love for the listeners to hear how your mind maybe shifted from kind of purely that physical to what you seem to be most passionate about now. If you could kind of share with a little bit about that.
Yeah, absolutely. I wear a lot of hats. I do health coaching. I work with people who have gut issues, hormone issues. When I came, kind of got on the other side of that bout of chronic neck pain, what really birthed the passion in me is when I realized that the stress from that, long-term bout of pain really took a toll on my entire system. My hormones were depleted. My thyroid had stopped working. My adrenals were stressed. My digestion was a mess. I wasn't sleeping. I had anxiety all the time. I was just a wreck from that pretty significant dose of stress. So I went to, my practitioner and I said, I'm not sleeping. I don't feel good. Everything's off. And she said, well, you've gone through a bout of chronic pain and you have post-traumatic stress disorder, and take this antidepressant and go see this counselor. And this is just probably something you're going to deal with. And I just remember thinking, no, there's got to be a better way. I mean, it just didn't make any sense to me. So at that point, I started to see a naturopath, and she said, well, Kate, of course you're depleted. Of course this is happening. We just need to rebuild your system. So she was really the first one that started to kind of introduce this concept of there's so much more we can do. This just doesn't have to be sick care. We can rebuild your system. And so I started working with her, and when I did, I became so excited and so passionate about this new way. To me, it was new. And I thought, I got to tell the world about this. Like, you don't have to suffer. You don't have to just, take a pain medication or an antidepressant. There's ways that we can rebalance the body so you can heal and really thrive. So at that point, I started following all the health experts, reading every book I could, listening to podcasts. That's when I found Dr. Cabral. And I really became so passionate about learning, and for myself, just to get better at that point, to learn how to rebuild my health and restore hormone balance and all that stuff. So at that point, I just, I actually started an Instagram account called Health Revolt. I was so fired up and I was so jaded at the conventional healthcare system. I just want to tell the world, there's a better way. There's more you can do. And I did that for a little while, and my tone was a bit jaded. So I kind of pivoted there. But I think again, once you go through, I think any practitioner that has suffered on that level and had their quality of life really, really suffer, that combination of, experiencing that compassion, and then with the passion of always loved working with people and helping people, improve their health, whether it be just through personal training or whatever. I've always had that passion. But I think when you pair it with compassion, it's just a deadly combination. And I think that for me, I always have that. I remember so clearly what it was like to suffer. And if I can help somebody else get on the other side, or at least bring them hope during a time that's really trying, that's when I'm most fulfilled.
Yes. Yeah. And I've talked about this with so many people that I've interviewed, and I feel like most people in this field kind of get there the same way that you just described. We're down and out. There's a major thing that happens in our life where we're not getting what we need from certain people that our society's kind of told us to run to them. They'll help. Yeah. We don't get what we need. We look elsewhere, we find it, and you end up so grateful. I think gratitude is really at the base of it, where you're just so grateful that you're no longer there. You no longer had to take steps that maybe didn't feel like they were going to, serve you in a way that, a doctor might suggest that they will. And your gratitude is what makes you go, wait a minute, I need to, and Dr. Cabral says it all the time. Like, he promised himself, like, if I find answers, I will share it with the world, because like, what else are you supposed to do with all that good stuff and so it's so beautiful to hear you say, in being in physical pain, there's, I think, lots of practitioners who maybe have had trouble with fertility or maybe had trouble with energy, but actually having that physical pain run through your body, I'm sure like there's times where maybe you can even bring yourself back to remembering what it felt like, and bringing somebody else either out of pain or preventing them from getting there is a way that you kind of even continue to heal yourself, but also just pass along that gratitude for having found what you did.
Yeah, absolutely. I love that you talk about that with Dr. Cabral. I remember a day in particular, it was probably about 9 months into the pain, and I had with occipital neuralgia, I had a migraine type headache that never went away, and the stabbing nerve pain. I'd had over probably 20 nerve block injections that didn't work, and there wasn't any pain medication that was touching the pain. It was so intense. And I remember I could hardly walk. I was really dizzy. All my vision was blurry. And I remember crawling into the bathroom. I was going to the bathroom. My husband was at work, and my mom had just left. She'd stay with us from time to time to make sure I was eating. And I remember just lying on the black bathroom floor. And, for me, I'm a spirit Christian person. So I was praying to God. I said, God, if you heal me, like, I will spend my whole life helping other people. And I think at that point, it was almost like, you can either view things as a victim of the things that are happening to you, or a creator of your life. And at that point, I was able to kind of shift to, this is happening for a reason, and we don't go through these hard things for nothing. And I can take this ginormous mess and turn it into my message one day. And I think at that point, that probably, helped. It brought me hope. It was like, okay, you're going to get through this. And when you do, you're going to be able to help so many people. So this is happening for a reason. And it just, it brought me the hope that I needed at that really, really dark time.
Yes. Yeah. Added just a little glimmer of light, and knowing almost that you have a purpose in the end is sometimes what can get people through. I think it's, oftentimes knowing what you're working towards and having that hope and that desire to be able to then help other people is so motivating. So I'm curious if you can kind of touch upon what has shifted most in kind of how you approach pain, wellness, maybe since that instance. You were doing lots of physical work early on.
Yeah.
And what do you think kind of sets you apart now? Or, if you look back, think like, wow, I can't believe I've come this far and now I'm doing this. Where was your biggest growth? What do you offer to your clients now that maybe you never would have known then?
Absolutely. I think, when I had to rebuild my own health, I became an expert in all the different areas that make up, the whole body. And so, I think people appreciate coming to a fitness expert for advice about mindset. And I just really value that. And I know that for me, that's had the biggest impact in my life is really overcoming, limiting beliefs and dealing with repressed emotions and traumas and those types of things. So, when I was rebuilding my own health, I read every book and listened to every podcast and reach out to every expert on gut health or whatever it is that I was struggling with. And again, I think when you're struggling so much, it really became an obsession of mine to get to the bottom of it. And so it's probably just treating the whole person. I think most personal trainers are they're into fitness, and not all fit people are healthy people. And I think people find it really refreshing when they come to someone like me and I say, this is not about killing your body. This is not about working out 7 days a week. And in fact, I don't want you to do that. We need to look at your whole system. And for you right now, intense exercise may not even be the answer. We need to, get your hormones balanced and get your gut stuff, under control. And we don't need to just, it's not the no pain, no gain mentality, which most personal trainers have. It's really looking at the whole person. So that's probably the biggest shift. I know for me, prevention is so huge. I mean, I think when you go through something like that, I spent, several years after that, just wanting to do everything I could to prevent myself from suffering from a sickness, some type of, health issue in the future. So, I think there's something powerful about, telling your story and then saying, don't wait until you're bedridden. Don't wait until your hormones are so depleted that your, X, Y, and Z is happening. How can we prevent this? And, I think a lot of people are jumping on board. It's like, let's not wait until things are broken. Let's prevent things. So with the movement portion of what I do, the way that I train people now and the fitness programs that I design are very geared toward injury prevention. It's not just going into the gym and working out and adding to muscle imbalances or adding to an overly stressed body or, already present adrenal issues. It's really teaching people how to prevent health issues and prevent injury while they work out. So rather than having to, go on your run and do your strength training and then go see your physical therapist, your chiropractor, your corrective exercise, you can combine that. You can do it all in one. So all of my fitness programs are addressing, the most common posture and muscle imbalances, the weak core, the neglected posterior chain, teaching people how to move in a way that prevents injury again, so they don't end up. I think it's 90% of people right now struggle with a bout of chronic low back pain, chronic meaning 3 months or longer. That's a lot of people. And so unfortunately, when we arrive on this planet, nobody tells us that the way that we move, the position that we spend the most time in, it matters. Our body adapts to those positions. And so when you sit at a desk all day long and you jump up to go to the gym and work out at 5 o'clock, when you're in that position, your body is, there's certain things that happen. And so once you go into the gym and you're really tight through the front of the hips and you're really, weak and shut off on the backside of your body. And then you go to do a bunch of squats and lunges, you're contributing to muscle imbalances unless you're doing a little bit of something to correct what that seated position did to your body all day. So it's really considering the whole person and teaching people, why not move? Why not get your exercise and prevent injury and correct your posture and, address muscle imbalances while you get your workout in? So as far as the fitness programs that I have, I think people appreciate that because, one of the biggest obstacles that people run into when they're trying to improve their health and improve their fitness is they end up getting hurt. They put in a P90X video in, and before they know it, they pull the hamstring and now they can't work out at all. So I think people really appreciate the attention to detail with the different cues and stuff, but also, preventing injury, improving posture while you're working out is something that's really, people really like.
Yes. Yeah. And even just simply paying attention to how the body is supposed to be supported so that energy can move properly, so that, your digestion, it's for somebody who's constantly, stuck with all that interior type tension, like it affects the gut. It can affect gut motility. It can, and
yes.
Not having an elongated spine,
yes.
can set your nervous system up for disaster. And so oftentimes it can just be as simple as that, as making sure that while you are exercising, you're actually improving other, facets too, and not just physically.
I love so much that you brought that up, Julia, because so many people get so focused and caught up on, I want the 6-pack or I want this, but ultimately what we want to be healthy long-term. We don't want to suffer. We don't want to end up with chronic pain or chronic health issues. And so, like you said, when our body is pulled out of alignment and there's a lot of tension in the front side of the body, we get these common posture, forward shoulder, forward head, internal shoulder rotation, all these different things, that stresses the nervous system, and the nervous system regulates every single system in the body. And so it's not just about what you look like and how fit you are, but like you said, if you're standing up a little bit taller and you're a little bit more aligned, your digestion is better, your nervous system, your hormones are more balanced, your brain chemistry is enhanced. So there's so much more to it than that. And I think people are really at the point where they're starting to think in that way. They realize that it's not just about how fit they are, but they want to be able to maintain that fitness so that they can, be healthy and active their whole life. And they realize that if they get injured or they get sick, that's not going to happen for them. And so I think now more than ever, people are really appreciating that holistic approach and a professional they can go to that they respect. A lot of people come to me for fitness, but then the bonus is that, hey, I don't want you working out 6 days a week. You've got adrenal fatigue and your progesterone is low. Let's hit the brakes here. Let's get your hormones healthy first. And we'll use exercise as a way to, for healthy movement, but we don't need to use exercise just to further stress your body right now. So, again, I think it's just an added bonus when people think, I have so many people that come that, please don't kill me. And it's like, trust me, I won't. I want you to be healthy. Exercise is stress. And I realize that. And we have to really look at the whole person, and people appreciate that.
Of course. Yeah. I started as a personal trainer too. That's kind of how I got into the health world over 14 years ago.
Okay.
And when I started getting more into, hormone testing and the nutrition, but really, stress and kind of the whole picture, like you said, people would refer others to me and they'd be like, she's a personal trainer, but like, she's not really a personal trainer. Like, she's not a personal trainer. She's like way more than that. Like, just go see her. Like, I know it's just your hip hurting and she's a personal trainer, but she'll fix it.
Yeah, exactly.
And like, you kind of don't know what box to put yourself in, but you're just a wellness expert. You look at the person from all from a physical, from a, stress, from a gut, from all aspects. And you decide what's the most pressing issue that we have to fix. And we're going to touch upon that in a second, because I do want to hear your thoughts about kind of stress and how much that can hinder really anything, whether we're talking about internal physical stuff like gut and hormones or external physical stuff. But looking at the whole picture is so important. I think any practitioner that does that on any level is just so much more of a service to their clients, because they're not leaving out a part that could be holding them back.
Yeah, I love that you bring that up. I just recall just before COVID hit, I was still training in a gym, and I was doing most of the corrective exercise. But at that point, like you said, I had become this health expert. And so all these, I was really looking at the clients that were coming to me, and we were not, it wasn't your typical trainer client situation where, you're just basically having them work out as hard as they can. You're throwing the ball at them. You're doing all these things. We were talking about mindset and, digestion and inflammatory foods and how we can optimize hormones and sleep and all these things. And all of my sessions were just full of what was really more, health coaching at that point. And, people would get a workout while we were talking, but it was like, wow, this is not, there's so much more going on here. I think I need to kind of pivot. And again, when COVID hit, it was the perfect push that I needed to, okay, you've got more to offer than just the fitness and the corrective exercise. How can you scale yourself and just hit the pause on, working with people in person and get some programs out there so you can help more people.
Yes. Yeah, of course. So if you had to kind of name the number one thing that you think holds people back from either, changing physically, making, outward physical changes, but, internal as well, things like gut-based health and correcting their hormones and seeing real significant changes in their well-being, what would you kind of say that is?
Such a great question. For so many years, I was so into, and especially having turned over this new perspective of we can heal our gut and we can optimize our hormones. And there's so much we can do for the physical body. And I became I loved it. I became obsessed. I wanted to do it myself. I wanted to try every protocol. I really was working purely on a physical level. I was actually working with Dr. Cabral for quite some time and really enjoyed working with him. But what I noticed myself and what I started to see in clients is that we can only ever get so far when we don't address the mindset and the emotional part of health. And I truly believe now I've kind of, again, pivoted a little bit, stepped back just a bit from a lot of the physical stuff that I was doing myself and also preaching and helping my clients with, and just hitting the pause button, making sure that, we're in an energetic space. We've dealt with past traumas. We're dealing with repressed emotions, limiting beliefs. If we are waking up every day and say we're feeling overwhelmed or some level of anxiety or anger and resentment about something that happened in the past, when your body is in that energy, I truly believe we're more energetic than we are mass. We're a bunch of vibrating little molecules. So it doesn't matter how healthy you're eating. And I really learned this firsthand, how healthy you're eating, or, your exercise routine or your supplementation, or maybe your gut healing protocol, whatever it is that you're doing. I truly believe that our physical body is constantly reflecting what's going on an energetic and an emotional level. And so for me, when I moved the needle most in my own healing, was when I got my mindset and my emotional health in a bit of a better place. And then what I found is that then my body responded to the more physical things that I was doing. It was like, okay, I'm actually going to absorb this nutrient dense meal that you're eating. I'm going to respond to this, liver support that you're taking. But until I moved my body out of fight or flight, and I think that's, I think so many people know that, stress kills us faster than anything, and it sabotages our health and it sabotages our ability to achieve optimal health. But it's not the conscious stress as much. It's the unconscious, because the unconscious is really what's running the program in most of us. And so we're aware of the fact that we're stressed about work, we're stressed about our health, we're stressed about finances. We're very aware of those things, but it's our unconscious emotions that affect our health most. So for me, I really allowed myself to be a student first and really learn how to address the subconscious and change that. People talk about raising your vibration, raising your frequency. It has so much more to do with just be positive, put a smile on your face. that really is suppressing your authenticity and how you're really feeling. And we know that emotional suppression also triggers fight or flight and leads to a lot of health issues. So it's, how do we raise our vibration and be happy people? I think for a lot of us, we have to go back and identify limiting beliefs and stories that are playing in our head that, you're not enough, or, you have to be perfect, or maybe it's a past trauma that you need to revisit until you're able to heal from it. But I think, our subconscious is formed before the age of 7. And so really what a lot of us are is just a bunch of, adults walking around with, a lot of just emotional immaturity in a lot of ways, and not even aware of the fact that we have this underlying, basically program playing that, you're not enough, or whatever it is for you. As long as that's playing and you're not really aware of it, well, of course you're not going to feel good. And I think, I've got a program out called New You, and really what it is it addresses that. I got so tired of watching people, lose weight or maybe do a 30-day, healthy eating protocol. And during those 30 days, they would commit to all the different physical things they were doing, and they would feel better for sure. But as soon as it was over, they would fall off the bandwagon. It really never changed them fundamentally. And it didn't ever answer, people know they should be eating healthy. They know they should be working out, but why aren't they? And so it really addressed the why and got people to step back and look at, if I don't like myself, if I have, unresolved anger in my child, whatever it is, and that program is continually playing, that has a massive impact on the way I feel about myself. And so eating healthy isn't as easy or enjoyable. I don't really want to move my body. But when we really get to the bottom of our motivation behind why what we do, and when we start to feel healthier, mindset-wise, emotional-wise, and we start to really like ourselves, and our motivation goes from, I want to take care of this body that I have because I like myself, not because I don't like my body and I just want to beat it up in the gym and change it so that it looks a certain way so that I can be happy. I want people to learn how to get happy first, change their mindset, change their relationship with their body. When your motivation shifts from, I don't like myself, and so I just want to lose weight, and I have to eat this salad because maybe if I lose weight, then I can finally be happy. Then I'll finally like myself. But when we heal that part of ourselves first and our motivation shifts, then all of a sudden exercising and eating healthy is just something that comes easy. And so in my New You program, I really teach people how to shift that relationship with themselves. The other thing that's really interesting too, something that's changed and really, really allowed myself to basically move my body out of fight or flight, which I truly feel that's what inhibits most people's healing and gets in the way of achieving optimal health. Is just, and again, most of it coming from not the stress that we're aware of, but the unconscious stress, is becoming aware of repressed emotions. And I think, there's a lot out there on emotional health, but when you start to identify and really become aware and process how you're truly feeling, we know neuroscience has proven now that it moves the body out of fight or flight. And if you've ever done the work, I use a journaling technique called the emotional detox. But when you become aware of what you weren't aware of and allow yourself a little bit of time to process how you're really feeling, and you take your unconscious thoughts and emotions and you shuffle them into your conscious, it very effectively moves the body out of fight or flight. And most of my clients say, gosh, I did that journaling technique and I just feel lighter. I just feel better. And as you know, Julie, when we move the body out of fight or flight and we're not working against the hormones of stress, all of a sudden, our cravings go down and we sleep better and our hormones come around and our digestion, all of these things happen when we move the body out of fight or flight, because the body's always trying to restore homeostasis. It's always trying to heal. It's just we get in our own way. And so it's really learning how to, again, I think most people are aware, yes, stress is in my way. I definitely deal with stress, but what kind of stress and what do I do about it? There's so much out there about stress management. Well, stress is kind of hard to manage. For me, I really needed a clear kind of a roadmap of this is how you do it. This is how you move your body out of fight or flight. And again, I was really kind of the student of all this. And then once it worked for me, I started using it on clients, and now it's in a lot of my programs. And it's just really fun to watch it change people's life, because the body is so intelligent and it's trying so hard to heal. Sometimes we just have to learn how to get out of our own way.
Yes. Yeah. And I usually even go one step deeper and explain to clients, you want to lose weight, you want to balance your hormones, if you are constantly stuck in that sympathetic nervous system dominance, your body only perceives that as physical imminent danger. Your body is actually trying to protect you from the fact that you're in physical imminent danger. We know that it's maybe the childhood trauma. We know that it's maybe something else subconscious, but that lit up central nervous system, your body's holding on to body fat so that it has excess energy stores to run from the lion.
Yes.
And almost taking a second to go, wow, thank you. Like, thank you for knowing what I needed up until now, but now I'm ready to let this go. And you've protected me up until now. And so many of those limiting beliefs are protective mechanisms that we get as children. And, and really shifting, like you said, like almost detoxing. That's a great, I love an emotional detox journal. That's such a great name. Detoxing those, like you said, getting them like into the conscious, right? If we detox stuff out of our soft tissue, it ends up in our bloodstream, and then we can get it out. But until it's brought to the surface, so much of this stuff is kind of just weighing us down internally.
Yeah, I love that you're bringing that up. When I first, I was working with Dr. Cabral, his 7-day functional medicine detox is what I start my New You program out. So the first week we do a detox. And it's really interesting because he said, your body, and I've done it multiple times, he said, your body's going to respond so much better when you're not in fight or flight. So, I wouldn't do a lot of high intensity exercise, and I try to manage stress. And I thought, gosh, for me, the most effective way to move my body out of fight or flight is to really do that emotional detox exercise and become aware of those repressed emotions. And so what I did is I paired his detox in my program with this emotional detox, and really, really fun to see the power of getting the mind on board, not only working on a physical level, lowering inflammation and all that kind of stuff, but how as soon as you move the body out of fight or flight, then it responds so well to what we're doing. And it's just, I think people, once they feel that too, they understand the power of the emotional part. And it's really fun to introduce that part to people, because for me, it's what shifted my health the most. And now teaching people how to do it it's rewarding.
Yes. And allowing them to kind of see it firsthand, and starting out in a way that, the detox works on the physical detox, but doing the emotional detox along with it kind of like wipes both slates clean. And then they're able to kind of, move forward with the next step. It's such an integral part of things. And I see it all the time in our practice. We go through gut-based protocols, we go through hormone balancing stuff. And sometimes, the gut is the cause for the stress, but there's a lot of times where we have a hard time moving the needle on digestion and gut-based overgrowth. And it's the client that can't get out of sympathetic dominance. And once we get them out of that state, then their digestion gets better. Now food's not fermenting and feeding gut-based bacteria and yeast anymore. And like one thing just leads to another, but it's so hard. A lot of people want the magic supplement, and they want the magic, and telling them like, maybe we should, work on childhood trauma. They're like, not now.
No thanks.
Exactly.
No
but
thanks.
It's sometimes not until they've gone through lots of physical steps that then they can go, okay, maybe, you're right. And, so everybody's path kind of takes different turns, but one way or another, addressing the mindset and the stress and that, central nervous system, I think is so important too.
It is.
Can you share with our listeners where they would find you on social media, where they could learn more about your programs, website?
Absolutely. So I've got a website, katescleanlife.com, and you can see all my programs on there. I'm most active on Instagram. I'm on Facebook a little bit, but you can find me on Instagram. I just do a lot of daily tips and tricks and stuff. Often I'm on there quite a bit. So if you want to interact, come on to Instagram. It's Kate's Clean Life.
Great. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming on the Integrative Health Coach Success podcast. This was such a great interview. I think we got lots of beneficial information over to our listeners, and I'm really happy to have you. Thanks again.
Thanks so much for having me, Julia.
Okay. We'll be in touch soon. Thanks, Kate.
All right. Sounds good.